Yo, this is Bench Gamer here. I don't know if you guys can even hear me, because it's pouring so hard right now. Like, I'm actually kind of dumbfounded by how hard it's pouring right now. So I don't know if you guys can hear me over the rain, but this is Bench Gamer. I've been clearing the yard of my house for the past couple of hours, and as you can see, there's a pile of like junk weed over there. And I'm pretty sure I have to put all of these in a bag, and I have to cut down branches and blah blah blah. I've done this like 5 or 6 times already. Usually, actually, I just put all of the weed over there by the side and just kind of turns into compost, which is actually like probably not very good because I want there to be less weed, and the fact that it turns into compost probably means that there's going to be more weed in the future. So yeah, that's what I've been doing for the past couple of hours. And just this morning, like you could actually see during my previous video, I think that it was clear skies, and now it's not. It's basically just a complete blanket piece of cloud. And it was actually raining even harder before now. Like, it's kind of calming down a little bit, and then there's going to be another wave in a couple seconds, like right now. You could probably even hear it. So yeah, that's it in terms of my blog. But yesterday I was doing the Spiral Abyss for Genshin Impact. I kind of just like consider Spiral Abyss like the generic term for all gacha game endgames now, especially the Hoyoverse ones. But so I was doing the Spiral Abyss for Genshin Impact yesterday, and I noticed that it actually took me like way more time to do it than previously. Like it was much closer than I had previously expected. And then I went on Reddit and I checked some of the statistics for the new enemies. And basically what has happened is that the new enemies just have more health now. Like, it's pretty obvious. I should have probably expected this. In addition to that, there's also the elemental geo check now. So you gotta bring some geo units to get rid of the geo, whatever they're called, the centaurs or whatever. I have not done the remove your quests yet, so I don't know what the context is for them, but I assume they come from the Roman-inspired underwater place. And you need like some sort of, like, you need John Lee, you either need John Lee or you need some geo DPS to get rid of the shields. So that's an elemental check in addition to the DPS check. And it just took me way more time than I had expected. And I do think that at this point, with the additions, the additional buffs that they're giving you because of Imaginarium Theater, you know how there's like invited characters that have certain special buffs, and then you have like invited characters. There's like 3 groups of characters that you can bring, but one group of characters, I think it's like 6 or 7 characters that have like special buffs. They get an increase to attack and defense and whatever. And now you also have the new special enemies, and then in the next cycle, I'm pretty sure that they're going to add in the new enemies from Natlan, the boss enemies that have special mechanics that not only, but primarily the new Power of Friendship characters can use, right? The special bling bling that goes around you when you activate some sort of elemental attack, and then you get like, I don't know what it's called, it's like a friendship burst. I'm just gonna call it a friendship burst. It has something to do with like, there's a specific term for it, it's like phlogiston or something, but basically when there's like rainbow colors around you, you can do special attacks, and then you trigger some sort of shield break, I guess, for the new enemies. This was especially the case for, what's it called? I don't know what the specific name is, but the boss that you have to beat to get the mats to level up Shalonen, that enemy actually had some pretty specific mechanics. There's like, it has these 2 elemental nodes that are on top of a platform, and you can't actually climb them. I think you can only climb them with Shalonen, or you can jump on top of them with Mualani. So that's another character check in addition to the elemental check, in addition to the special mechanic check for Natlan, in addition to the new special character, invited character check that you get. So that's a lot of new checks that Genshin Impact has. And I definitely feel like now that Genshin Impact has become, like, relatively speaking, less popular, they definitely are making it more FOMO. I know that's going to be kind of a controversial opinion, but I definitely do feel like with the, you know how they always say that the Spiral Abyss gets harder, and then it gets, as the patch cycle goes on, like when you get from 4.0 to like 4.8, the power level of the Spiral Abyss tends to get harder and harder and harder, and then until you get to like 4.7 and 4.8, when it's like, oh holy shit, this is the equivalent of the Constipated Beasts. But it doesn't feel like that anymore. It actually feels like in 5.1, it feels like if I didn't have all these like C3 characters with their signature weapons, I just can't really do anything about these enemies. If I did not have John Lee, if I didn't have Arataki Ito, worst case scenario, I could have used Arataki Ito, but I didn't because I hate playing Geo units. So I just kind of like brute forced it with my John Lee, my Yungjing, my Wanderer, and my Faruzan. And that was my team for dealing with the Geo units. But for other people who have less constellations and less signature weapons, remember I have a C2 Wanderer, with his signature weapon. And I have like C1 John Lee. I have like a whole bunch of, and all the other support characters are at C6. In addition, I have like my mono hydro team, C3 Farina, C3 Kokomi, C6 Xingqiu, C0, but with her signature weapon Yelan. So I think even though I'm not like the best, like let's be honest, I'm not good at Genshin Impact. I have like barely an idea of how elemental like gauge works in Genshin. But I do have a lot of time spent in this game. I do have roughly like $2,500. Like that's relatively speaking, a lot of money spent on this game over the course of 4 years. It is a lot of investment, and I can barely clear Spiral Abyss in 5.1 with my preferred teams. And I do think that that speaks to how much like they have leveled up in terms of what they're willing to throw at you at the top floor now. And I feel like they should just give us a floor 13 at this point, but I don't know why they haven't. They've given us Imaginarium Theater. Probably because if we get a floor 13, they would have to give us more Primo Gems. I think that's the primary reason. So this is Bench Gamer. After a couple of hours of weeding the yard, complaining about Genshin Impact. I'm not really even complaining. I think this is just a natural progression of where Genshin Impact is at now after 4 years. I don't think it's even a bad thing that they're throwing us more stringent character checks, more stringent elemental checks, and even like Natlan region specific checks. I thought that the way that the power of friendship mechanics work in Natlan is kind of how I thought that it would work with the two new like Numia and Usia mechanics would work in Fontaine, but those mechanics were basically just non-existent in Fontaine. You could brute force it with your favorite characters. If you have multiple constellations and their signature weapons, you could basically just ignore it for the most part. Unless there was just like one event back in 4.0 where I actually had to like try really hard, and I think I even streamed it, but that was the only time when I felt like I was gimped for not having Usia or Numa units. So yeah, that's where I'm at in terms of Genshin Impact. I'm still playing a lot. In fact, like I said in my previous video, I'm enjoying like these gacha games more now that I'm not binging them for 46 hours at a time now. And I think that has definitely there's not as much pressure because I know that I can't stream right now. I know that I can't make content right now. There's less pressure for me to turn into content, which means that I'm actually playing these gacha games more now, in addition to not just playing them all at the same time. And that means that I have done quite a bit of exploration in that land. I think I have around like almost 70% in every single region. And then the next is going to be 80%, blah, blah, blah. And I'm pretty much halfway through the Archon quest right now. And yeah, that's where I am at in terms of Genshin Impact. For Zenless Zone Zero, I've completed almost 100% of everything. I'm basically just doing the stamina missions now. Not the stamina missions, the friendship missions. And I'm basically farming the last bit of Primo Gems I can get. I think it's called Polychromes in Zenless, to hopefully get Bernice. And if I don't get her, then I get, if I don't get her, I get Yanagi, who I want even more. The Bernice, I think her character trailer, I really like her character trailer. Her character demo, I've noticed that for their character demos, they don't feel the need to put in like these character attack animations, their burst animations, and their basically whatever they do in the battlefield, they don't feel the need to put that in the trailers anymore. And I think that is for the better, because we get to see them just be like, we already see these animations in the game anyways. Why do you need to put them in the demos? It doesn't really make a lot of sense. We've already seen them in the leaks. We've seen them in the what's it called, the live streams. So the fact that they're just focusing on their personalities at this point is an upgrade, basically. Yeah, so the ring is kind of stopped. I don't know if my mom's ready to go, but that's basically where I'm at in terms of gacha games. Honkai Star still farming for, I don't know who I'm farming for. I kind of want to pull, like, based just instinctively, but I should save for Fugue. That's the new hype character, I guess, even though it's a break character focus. I don't even know if that's revealed yet, but Fugue is going to be a break support, which is an incredible shame because I have no Firefly, and I never want to get Firefly. She is an awful character. I'm sorry, this is going to be a controversial take. You can feel free to unsubscribe now for my shitty takes. This is Bench Gamer signing out, and I'll see you guys, I don't know,